And in between, we are trying to blame or block their creativity. So it becomes a little bit challenging for a child, and you block their possibility to be creative. The other key communication principle which parents need to understand, they should be active listening. How do you listen to your child? Have you seen children trying to talk to you? Have you seen children trying to talk to their parents and the parent is busy on their phone? The parent is busy on the TV. The parent is busy on another thing, but the child is trying to communicate something. The non-verbals and the verbals are very key for you if you are to practice active listening with your child. Look into them, in their eyes straight, and avoid interrupting when they are communicating something, because sometimes even what they are communicating, once you interrupt, they're going to forget that. But as you keenly listen to what they are saying, and you ask, so what do you mean by that? How did you get that information? Why did you get that information? It's going to help you to understand. Are you consistent? Do you have a clear consistency in your routines at home? Have you set boundaries? Do your children know where to go, what to do, and what not to do in your home? And how do you follow them? There are minor things that can really help you if you set them and they know that that is in our home, that's what we do. Let me give an example. There are many of us who have really failed to manage the nutrition of our children. We think that because we have the money, we can buy whatever they ask and we feed them with. In Uganda, that is becoming a problem. We are having young children developing ulcers. We are having young children becoming diabetic. And it really has a lot of implication with what the parents do as they select, as they plan to have meals for their children. How about if you had a menu in your kitchen and there's a menu which every other child in the home know that for us on Monday, we eat maybe posho, beans, and maybe greens. I don't know. On Tuesday, we eat maybe meat or rice or something, depending on what you do. I did this. I've talked to many families who have practiced this, and it has helped them to know. Their children actually have given feedback. We never knew that we actually supposed also to be eating posho, even beans. We thought those are made for prisoners or students when they are at school. We didn't know even at home we need them, because when you sit together and draw and come up with a menu, you are putting each food, explain to each one of them the food value they can get from that particular food. So they will appreciate when they are having a posho and beans and maybe greens. They will appreciate that day than you saying you have to eat them. That's what I can afford, or that's what other people are doing. Who told you that they should do what other people are doing? They need to understand, they need to appreciate. And once they know, and that's how your family does things, it no longer be a problem. Whoever comes in, even the young ones, will fit in the system. Do we show empathy to our children? Have you seen parents who are treating their children like they are not their fathers, they are not their mothers? To this, as a specialist, I want also to share that sometimes we need to look at, we parents, and know the status of our fellow parents. When you look at your wife disciplining your child, don't look back and say, yes, they should. Of course, we are not supposed to take sides. If it is discipline, we are supposed as parents to speak the same language. But are you aware of your mental status, both of you? Because when you are mentally ill, when you are mentally confused, you are going to harm the child. You might continue doing this for a time, and the child
Right, dear parents, I'm sure our elder has network challenges. Please just hang on, do not leave. He will be joining shortly. He will be joining shortly. Do not leave. I just want to welcome each and every one of you. Pastor Kangwa, you are welcome. I'm glad you have joined. Your presence is really acknowledged. I want to acknowledge everyone. Kindly, I'm requesting if we can just hang on. He's back. Thank you.
Colleagues, apologies. I'm using my phone and somebody was trying to call.
It's fine, my
hope I ended up at a point when parents were when we are listening. I'm sharing again. Sorry about that. Are you able to see the presentation again?
Yes, my elder.
Yes.
It's visible and clear.
I had discussed empathy. I now want to discuss positive reinforcement. Parents need to learn to praise their children. This is causing us a very big problem. There are young girls who grow up and they have never even known that they are beautiful. They hear this from a young boy somewhere and they feel like that is the best thing they have never heard about their life. But you, a father, you, a mother of this beautiful girl or boy of yours, have you ever taken time to appreciate your daughter? Such that before someone else say, wow, you are beautiful, she knows that my mother, my father already knows, they have given me the affirmation that I'm beautiful. There's nothing new you are going to tell me. Simple things. Your child has done something. Say thank you. Thank you. Even when they are still young, say thank you. Because you are creating now a character that is going to develop. But because you are the one who is responsible, you are the one who have provided, you don't even take an initiative to appreciate them over what they do. Please praise them, appreciate them, and follow up their progress and achievements that are done. I've seen parents when they go to check on their children at school, and all they need in Uganda here, it's a 4. They are the A's. Even if the child has tried to get a B, the parent doesn't care. He wants an A. But you don't know what your child went through to get that B you're talking about. Meanwhile, another child has an F. I don't know whether you have the same rankings in terms of academic performance. I'm trying to say that when your child tries to perform, please appreciate. And say, but James, the way I look at you, you can even do better, but you have tried. Let's try next time to do something better. He will know that my dad appreciates and my mother appreciates, so I need to do better. They appreciate the effort I've put in. Let us try to use open-ended questions when we are talking to them. You see, closed-ended questions need a yes or no, but open-ended gives them a chance to explore. As they are sharing, they could be even having issues they have ever wanted to share with you, but they have never got a chance to do so. So they use this opportunity. And then that encourages them to have critical thinking and exploration. As we leave the principles, please take note of the non-verbal. The facial expression and the tone explains a lot of messages. So make sure you do not miss out on that. Sometimes they will even talk, especially when they become adolescent. They will say what you want to hear them say because they know what you want to hear them say. But they are not meaning that. And when you look at their face, you can ask, Jennifer, the way you told me, you talked to me, you seem like you don't agree with what you said. Is that true? She's going to change the response because now she sees that you've understood what she's trying to portray. So please pay attention to the non-verbals because they speak actually more, especially to parents. I don't know the kind of parent you are, but basically we have 4 parenting styles. As I finish the 4th one, I want you to assess yourself and know what happens to your child, the children you have. and how you have contributed to what they are. And the first parenting style we are talking about is the authoritarian parenting styles. These are strict parents, these are controlling, and punitive parents. These have no clear rules. These have clear rules and punishments. If you do not follow the rules, you are punished. So there is little warmth or support and high control. In this structured environment, it is all about meeting the parents' wishes with a little regards for who the child is. And the nature of needs of the child are not now a big issue here. And remember, train the child in the way they should go. Is that what Proverbs says? So without needed support, children may never feel good enough, and they develop depression when raised by an authoritarian parent. We need to take note of that. The other parent who is also related to that, similar to that, is the authoritative parent. These parents develop clear standards and are responsive to their children's needs, but in a democratic way. So for them, instead of being the bossy, they are open to communication and they will listen to their children. So growing up in an authoritative household provides the child with a solid foundation, but they are also likely to maintain a strong connection with their parents throughout adulthood. But we also have permissive parents, parents who have low expectation and generally are more lenient with a few rules to abide by. Even when the rules are broken, permissive parents tend to avoid conflicts. They don't want conflict with their children. So without much grounding, children are raised like the way they may be. They be more impulsive and prone to seeking risk. These ones suffer a lot of anxiety and depression. We also have the neglectful parents. These parents are uninvolved and they are uninterested in whatever happens for the children. They pay little attention. They have no rules, no warmth or support. So children in this type of family households have a risk of struggling for future relationships due to withdrawal and fear for abandonment. So adult relationships in general may be very difficult. They normally have anxiety provoking due to the upbringing. So we see this even when we are doing premarital counseling. You look at this young girl who has come for premarital and you look at the way when they would share the upbringing and the others, you really see the problem this person is going to go through if they go into their marriage. And you have to prepare them properly. Which kind of parent are you? And what do you think your parenting style brings to your child? Check yourself and do the needful. That greatly affects your children. How? If your parenting style and how you communicate is done well, is that one with a purpose, your child is going to have their self-esteem improved. They are going to be able to build stronger relationships, not only with family members, but even with the neighbors, even with the colleagues at work, even with the school, with the friends at school. Even in their marriages, if they grow up and get married, they won't struggle with building and maintain their relationships. It is also going to build their healthier, their emotional regulation. They'll be in position to manage their emotions. This business of children not being able to control their emotions. Last time I was in a hospital, one of the good hospitals here in Kampala, and I saw a parent, a child who is 3.5 years, above 3.5 to 4 years, slapping a parent in public. Bah! And the parent touches her face and says, "But I stopped you from beating me." If you do your parenting properly and you're communicating, you're going to help your child's academic performance improved. Their emotional intelligence is going to be very key. It will enhance their problem-solving skills and it will also reduce family conflicts. There's a lot of conflicts. Some of these children sometimes hurt themselves, hurt others. even plan to hurt their parents because their parents have not done the work that is expected from them. So what do we consider when you are doing this, looking at your children? I don't know how old they are, but we are looking at the developmental considerations that you need to pay attention to when you are communicating with your child. What to communicate to each child and of what age? The televisions and the internet of today are very good in terms of research and the others, but who controls what age watches or sees what? That's where the problem is. For example, at infancy, you are supposed to pay attention that child from the, we understand that parents start to communicate to their children even when they are still in their what? Womb. That's why when you come back home, you'll see the baby in the womb trying to shake a bit because he knows the dad has come. So when the mom say touch here and here, your daughter, here your son, you'll hear him or her changing because he knows there is communication already. So 0 to 1, yeah, the nonverbal cues are very key. The touch and tone should be very clear. Yelling at your wife when she's pregnant, that kind of shouting and the tone affects the child also because she or he is listening to what you two of you are talking. At 1 to 3 years, the toddlerhood, we need to use simple language, affirmative, labeling emotions and ensure that they are following and they're enjoying. But I'm telling you what we are going through today, people do not even have ample time to talk to each other. They will bring stress to each other. And the toddlers are listening and they are learning what they are saying. For the preschool children, 3 to 5 years, storytelling is very key. You can also do some kind of role playing, showing them what they do. If you have observed them playing, they like to do the things. Let's play mommy, daddy. Let's play. We are building our house. We are doing what? They know they are following. At school age, you need again how to make use of the open-ended questions and ensure that they develop problem-solving skills. Open-ended questions, why? Remember what I said, because there's a lot of information you don't know. The play therapy helps us to get a lot of information children can never tell you verbally. So when you use open-ended questions, you are triggering them to think more, and before they know it, they have even told you what they thought they would not tell you. So you are able to know and understand. And the moment they become 13 years onwards, they have become adolescents. Be very careful. You are dealing with a fair adult. Ensure you have active listening and respectful dialogue. There's nothing like sit there, tell me, what are you talking about? Must I remind you I'm your father? Must I remind you I'm your mother? Please tell me what you're talking about. Who was here? There should be a respectful dialogue if you want to really to ensure that your children learn and follow. What are we supposed to do? There are strategies that we need to employ to ensure that we ensure proper communication with our children for them to understand us. I don't know whether it was very clear, because actually when we talked about communication, it is very important for people to know what communication is. Hopefully we can all get it. I was supposed to put much emphasis there, but because of time, I think let me quickly go to that other slide as we conclude. I know time is just few minutes. When I talk of strategies for you to ensure that there is effective parental communication, these are very key, fellow parents who are listening. Have you ever talked to your children? Have you ever had a one-on-one with each of your child? I have children who are at school in a boarding section. When they come back home, as a must, I should have a one-on-one with each of them. Quality time without any other child or any other person interrupting. So tell me, how was your school this term? What made you so happy? What annoyed you? What went well? What didn't go well? What did you like most? What didn't you like? Quality time, both of you, without anybody interrupting. Parent, if you do that, someone else is not going to take over your part. After having a one-on-one, you understood who each and every the other child is, and they also know their parent. Ensure that you have what we call regular family meetings. In the SDA church, we do the prayer as we do the morning watch, and the others as we are praying. It brings all of us together. Do something similar also for a family meeting for an issue that is not clear, and clarify. Anything not clear should be clarified in a family meeting. You will save them from hurting or harming each other. So even in your absence, they'll be in a position to make a meeting and communicate and refer to the standards set for your family. Parents ensure that there's active listening and emotional validation. Many of us do not listen to you. I would have shown you a lot of clips of videos if you have time. We are not listening to our children. They talk, they communicate, and they understand. These are some of the examples of the cases that went viral. Where an family started sexual abusing the young girl. And the young girl, this time break the silence when the boy, this uncle of his, refused to buy the ice cream. And the girl says, "Mom, I want to tell you a secret, but promise that you won't tell anyone else." And the mother says, "You know well, my daughter, who else can I again tell?" As the young lady still narrates the story, the mother gets to know and say, "What? He did what?" The mother breaks now the agreement, quickly runs to Uncle Tom. "How did you do this to my daughter? What are you doing? Is this child going to still trust you? Who is going to take over your position now that you cannot keep her secrets? How best would you as a parent handle that?" I know it attacks you, it makes you surprised, but how do you manage that? When your children are not happy with what you are saying, how do you manage their emotions? If they are angry with somebody, with you, how do you manage the emotions without causing more chaos? It's important for you to ensure validation. And parents, ensure that if there's any conflict, especially for adolescents, you should ensure that your children, your adolescents, your teenagers gain skills in conflict resolution. We are living in a world where we most of the times annoy or affect each other. And conflicts will always be there at home, at church, at school, at the workplace. But how you can tell somebody where the family they are coming from is how they manage the conflicts once they arise. And for us, it speaks volumes. You speak with a child and quickly tell the family where they are coming from. It's said, charity begins at home. So we must be very much aware and concerned, especially when we are dealing with the children. If you are struggling these strategies, you might need to see a profession. But it would be good as if you're seeking a profession, seek a profession earlier. Sometimes we are receiving these children and it's too late. A child comes to you and says, "What are you telling me? What is it?" You ask the child, "Yeah, I'm happy to see you. Thank you for coming." Say, "Yes, I'm here." "So how may I help you?" Say, "You are helping me. It's my dad who brought me. You talk to him. It's my mom who brought me. Talk to her. She's the problem. Me, I have no problem." So already you're exchanging with your child. At what level do you understand that, I'm failing as a parent. I think someone else should support. Make use of professionals. I'm glad with the SDA church because there's a structure. From the other people have Sunday school and the others. From the Sabbath school, when the children are studying, their lesson discussions are very clear and age appropriate. If your child regularly attend Sabbath and attend classes, they are at least not ambushed. So they are given age appropriate information. But as a parent also, validate. What did you learn? You've come back. Some of us have responsibilities even at church. You're too busy. Find out, what did the teacher teach you to that church? What did you learn? In the camp meeting and those other things for the children, find out and validate what has your child learned. In Uganda, it's very difficult. Many of the parents, as SDA parents, do not even have their children in SDA schools. So they learn a lot of things from the secular schools. Validate, find out your child, what they learn, and let them share with you how that makes them to be and whether it relates with what they expect to become. Those are very key issues that we really need to talk about. The other key issue that is becoming a problem today is the phone parent. I don't know how many of you have understood that you have another parent who is supporting you to do parenting. I'm talking about the parenting of the phone. As I speak now, many of your children have got phones. I've seen scenarios even where parents go to visit their children at school, and the first thing the child asks for, "Mom, where is my phone?" They quickly run to their phone. You've went to visit a child, you have not even checked for their performance. Quickly, what your daughter is asking for is her phone. Recently, I was talking to a child who was expelled from a school, and he was sent to see a therapist. And when I was talking to him, he said, "Yes, they expelled me." But it wasn't my problem, actually. They found us with the phone. But it's the girl, my girlfriend, had it. She's the one who came with it. Especially girls today, do you know, they struggle to go with the phones at school that they could be able to talk to their boyfriends? What have we done to our children? It's okay to buy them phones, but do we regulate how they use those phones? Do we know who are in the phone contacts of our children? Do we know who they communicate to? And as an addiction professional, I'll tell you, that's how your children become now to get into trouble. The phone becomes their everything. And even when she grows up or he grows up, they'll tell somebody, "Don't touch don't joke with even when they get into relationships." Somebody will sit on their phone, and newly married people in their sitting rooms. I don't have time. I would have shown you here the clips. You are seated in a sitting room, but the father, the mother, the children, each one is on their phone. WhatsApp and other medias communicating. And you look at this family structure where each and every person is busy on the phone. Technology has also now greatly contributed. They have taken over. And then whatever the children want will ask their phone. They'll go to AI, they'll go to any other, they'll ask for whatever they want. Parents, where are we? Are we communicating? Are we doing our work to our children? Who is going to do it for you when you're not there? Why are you looking for a psychologist? Why are you looking for a counselor and say, "Talk to my child"? Why you as a parent, what have you done? We are living, yes, in a sinful world, but what have you done to support your child not to get there? In the Bible, you go and see all those examples. You will see. Look at the fathers who failed to do their part properly and what their children did and how it affected them. You can mention so many examples. Have you looked at David? You see how Tamar was raped by a real brother? What did that impact on David? What did David do? And what did the other do when the other raped the sister? You see murder happening in, again, the same family. And how did it affect David? And let's talk about Eddie. You might be a very good servant of God. Some of us even are challenging the pastors and the elders. And we spend a lot of work. I was telling the pastor, I returned very late from church yesterday. We are doing a lot of work in other people to support the church and all other stuff, but we have forgotten to spare time for our children. You see a pastor moving from one camp meeting to another, one effort to another. Who is parenting your child, pastor? Who is talking to your child? And you go in schools and see that's a pastor's kid. Are you sure? That one? No, 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 no. But the pastor is parenting us, is spending a lot of time on us. The elder is spending a lot of time on the other people in the church. Who is talking to your child? The phone? The other peers? What are they telling your child? We need to pay attention to that. Very, very key for you. I normally ask these children, in case you get a problem, who do you talk to? In case somebody touched you, so the young ones, who do you talk to? These adolescents, in case somebody is saying, hey, hey, who do you talk to? The teenagers, in case you are raped, who do you talk to? Surprisingly, when you are talking to many of them, many of them will not even mention their parents. You can imagine if your teenager, if your daughter is raped, she's not even having confidence to disclose to you the mother or father. How close are you with your child? What is your level of communication? When you communicate, do you understand each other? That is very important. Now, Pastor, I don't know about time. I wanted to go into a clip. I don't know whether time can allow. But those are a few things I felt they are very key for us quickly to brainstorm, discuss, and find out whether that makes sense to you, a person who is listening there, and you have a child you're responsible for. Are we communicating?
Very much, Elder. We are listening. You are
Great.
speaking to us.
Great. As I
Especially
speak now, I see it's
I can
already
see
8. I don't know whether I can.
Pastor Kangwa is in the call, he's listening.
Okay, that's great. I don't know whether I can play this clip a bit. Let's listen a bit. Just a moment. Let me stop share and first share something here. Oh. Just a moment. Just a moment. I want to play this clip and I ask. So as I look for this, I want parents to check ourselves whether sometimes we pay attention to what children struggle sometimes to communicate to us. So just a moment. I, I want to share this video a bit. Please let me know if you can hear this or you can see this. Just a moment. Share. Is that now? Are we able to see?
Yes, my elder.
You're able to see and hear the sound?
Sound, we can't see it. Oh, I mean, sound. We can. I'm interested of watching what is there. So now we can't hear the sound, my elder.
Oh, okay. Let me first check the sound. Let's check the sound. Sound. You can't hear the sound again?
No, it's because you saw your teacher. You're trying to break my door.
Now we can get it.
You're running away from your teacher. Come on, greet me. Go and greet your teacher. Come on, come here, my dear. Come on. Go and hug your teacher. What's wrong with this girl? So she acts crazy sometimes. Nah, don't mind them. They're like that. Anytime you want them to make good grades, they begin to feel like you're their problem. Imagine. And those good grades, you must make them work. Or else heaven will fall down. I'll do my best to hand it over to you. I promise you. To make it clean. Let's go inside. Oh, I even want to see the principal. Okay. Naughty girl. What's happening? This is okay. You see this girl? I was trying to make her see her grade. Okay? It's very bad. Her mother gave her to me to make sure that she makes good grade. And I was calling her just to make sure that she sees that she's doing well. And I've been telling her that it's not the punishment. I told her to come to my office and see that she's doing very badly. So come and see her result. Can you imagine? Look at her. Don't mind this. They have no idea what to go through to help them. Stubborn children everywhere. Don't mind them. Thank you very much. So you want to be stubborn? Cynthia. 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 You're possessed. What's with you? A teacher that I paid so much to give you extra lessons, and you're here, My friend, go to your lessons. Go to, before I count 5. 1, 2. What kind of child is this? Eh? After spending so much money, sit down there and do your lessons. You're here now. Where have you been? Look, my dear, you have quietly. Okay? So that we don't run into any. No, don't worry. Apostles are for sure. If you're too much, no. Open your mouth. Open your mouth. Open your mouth. Open. So now we can study. can come in your class. You know your mother paid so much. And today we'll be having, and you'll be fine. We remember, and your mother. What did I say? So, good girl. No, it's okay.
Elder, to our end, the video has stopped. Oh, sorry, dear parent. Seems the elder has some network challenge. However, we are about to close and he has just, the network has kicked him out. We'll still wait. Those who have questions, please, if possible, you can type your questions in the chat box that will be able to read your questions. Those who are able to unmute and ask, please just raise your electronic hand. When the elder just joins in, we can quickly get into questions and the clarities where we need the clarities, because he is a specialist and this is his area of operation. Right, the elder is just in now. Yes, elder, please, over to you. Elder? Elder, is it possible you can unmute your mic?
Oh, apologies. I
Thank
was
you.
saying, I don't know at what level you went off. I want to share. I was saying I'm going to share another clip just for a few minutes, like 1, 2, then we close. Is that fine?
Yes, but we have some questions that would love to ask you. Some parents here have got some questions which they would love to interact with you.
So let me share this one quickly, 2 minutes, then we ask at once.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, please. Let's listen to this. Okay. Please let me know when you can see and you can hear the voice.
Oh, yes, sure. Okay, let's just wait patiently, please. I'm sure the elder is trying to get the video and share with us. And then we'll just get into questions and the contributions from the lesson, what you have learned today. As we are waiting for the video, please, let's just have some few, exercise some few patience. All right, there we go. The video is clear, but we can't get the sound.
So friends, I think we can end it at that. I want to thank you for listening. I know there are so many clips I would merge within the presentation, but time is not on our side. I hope you are able to hear me.
You are loud and clear, my elder.
Because of time, I think let's end it at that. I want to thank you for listening. I want to welcome the questions. Over to you.
Thank you very much, dear elder. Elder Julius, you are a great blessing. I'm sure you are a great asset to the church in Uganda. And now you have explored Zambia, and I can see people from Kenya who have logged in and some from Malawi. You have spoken to us in a great way. Dear parents, we have reached at a time when we can interact with our mentor, we can interact with our coach and our counselor who is present as well as our elder. Do we have anyone with a question, a comment, or a contribution, please? Any question, any comment, contribution in line with the lesson for today? Yes, Mrs. Mwewa, please, you can come through.
Thank you, Pastor Elder Julius. Thank you for the wonderful and very insightful presentation. I just have one question. How, as parents, can we be able to reverse some of these things that have happened due to poor parenting and unavailability on our part to find that children get into all sorts of troubles, issues, and emotions? How are we able to reverse some of these things? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Pastor, is it okay we get all the questions and then we respond at once?
Oh, yes, sure.
Okay.
Do we have any other questions, please? Anyone else with a question so that the presenter can just answer them at once? Anyone else with a question, please, you can raise your electronic hand or you can type it in the chat box. We'll be able to read it. It's open, please, for questions. Yes, Mrs. Mwanawina, please. Those with questions, just raise your electronic hand. After Mrs. Mwanawina, we can call another person and then we can sum up.
Thank you, Pastor, and thank you, Elder, for a wonderful presentation. My question is, how do you deal with a teenager who is overprotective of their actions?
Okay. Thank you.
Well noted. Do we have anyone else with a question on the call? Anyone else who has a question, please? You are free to unmute and ask, or you can type it in the chat box. We will attend to it. Right, Elder, I'm sure we have those two questions. If possible, you can help us.
Okay, thank you so much, Pastor, and thank you so much, colleague, parents who have raised the questions. That's a clear indicator that people are following, and they might actually not be a concrete answer to whatever question is raised, because parenting, when you're a parent, every other time you learn. The day you stop learning as a parent is the day you are losing your child. Parents need to understand that each and every child you're given to is a unique child. In the moment we do not understand that some of the children have unique futures, that's when you hear parents categorizing the kind of children they normally have. So it's very important for parents to appreciate and understand that each and every other child that is given to them is a unique child with a unique character or future that can come your way. So as you are having your standard in a home, make use of that to ensure that each and every child fits in within their uniqueness. The mother there wanted to know, how do you deal with a teenager who is overprotective? I am not sure what you are calling overprotective, because you need to understand the kind of person you are talking to. We do not have time, but I should have explained what is expected from each and every age group of your child. Because
okay, let me just, sorry, Elder, let me just elaborate more on that one. It's a situation where a child is ever, when she makes a certain mistake, you tend to correct her. She's ever defensive. Whether she's wrong, she's not wrong, she'll be there to see to it that she's protecting herself, even when she's wrong. And when she's wrong, it's a situation where she would not be able to admit, even when you have found her red-handed.
Okay. I think you're very clear. And the point I was driving at is what is expected from each and every child at their age group. In the growth and development stages, children react differently. Remember, the growth is still ongoing. And when you say a teenager, that is already an age where they feel they already know what is the right thing to do. They are now able to question some of the things that you believe are right for you. They are able to defy and say, for me, I'm not going to follow what the family is believing in, what they are saying. When the children are growing up and they are fitting in a system that is already well streamlined, it is very important that that begins early. Because even as they are growing up, it is important that they don't find this a problem. You see, even the growth of your children's brain is still developing, and we sometimes don't understand this, but it is very key. Let me give you a very quick snapshot of what happens when your children are growing up and how their brain develop. At antenatal, All the five senses begin for the child. They begin at birth. At antenatal, when you are in your mother's womb, the child's senses start to grow. The prenatal sensory experiences now also start to come up with the nervous system. But 0 to 3 years, there's a fostered relationship now with the caregiver. At that level, you are seeing a child developing some characters which they are learning from what they are seeing. Within their brain development is vulnerable because anything that is like a stress or what you are saying or what becomes a little bit disturbing to them, it starts to disturb them. But I'm more much interested in the adolescent. The adolescent and teenager you are talking about, their brain development prioritizes the connection and the most often resulting in the pruning of the brain networks or circuits. So as children enter this period, more intensive resources are required to ensure that your child doesn't miss any opportunity in the environment where they are living with the preceding years. There, it is questioning them. Why does daddy behave the way he or she behaves? Remember, we said that if you do not have some standards that you have agreed on as a family, already it's going to be very difficult for this child to fit in. We mentioned that any child 13 years plus, one of the things you really have to do, active listening and respectful dialogue. So if Jennifer is doing something which you know is wrong, sit down, Jennifer, and say, wow, Jennifer, we want to talk about this. How do you feel about that? When you ask her what she feels about what she's doing, you are able to know whether it's right for her, she thinks it's right or not. But when you are telling Jennifer that's wrong, she knows it's wrong. She knows. Sometimes those who are even, they'll even ask, must you remind me it's wrong? You think I don't know? And they're telling their parents. Even during the sessions, they can even communicate that way here, and you really know that there's no communication between this child and their parent. So a quick answer to me to that is that this is not something that just begin like that. It must have started early. But as a parent, what you have to do, pay now keen interest. Do not quickly go there to judge and say this is wrong, this is right, but find out what she or he thinks about what he's doing and the likely consequences. Because as you are saying they're overprotective, one of the things they know, you don't like what they are going to say. You don't like what they are doing. So they have already judged. And many of us are quicker to judge. We are judgmental. The moment you are judgmental, they are not going to share with you. That's why we are saying even you better seek support for professionals. Sometimes when you see things are what? When they come to therapists, they say a lot of things which they've never told their parents. I told you I've talked to teenagers who even declare that even when I'm raped, I cannot tell my mom. I cannot tell my parents. So because of that, you know the communication is not there. But parents, we encourage you to ensure that there is that relationship, open communication with your child, always. Anything you're not happy with, you do not just say, I don't like this. You go back to when we were discussing the definition of the authoritative parent. They are validating, there are things that are very clear, that the standards that they are setting and they're ensuring that that is followed. But again, they do that in love. There should be that open what? Communication and respectful dialogue. There is no way somebody will not pay attention to that. But then also, we need to know that as the growth is a transition period, even us ourselves, there are things during that time we thought that our parents are what? Are wrong to say this. And sometimes you would even go ahead and do the opposite. But as you grow up, you appreciate why they were saying what they used to say. So as you talk to them and you have a chance to give examples, refer and share the examples that other people are going through. Your child will listen, and then they will be in a position to help others. The other question was almost also similar. What do you do with other children who have what? It is difficult because our children are interacting with other children who to them, what is not normal for us is the normal. And therefore, you a parent, when you have not done your part, there is a very big gap, there is a very big problem that is going to come your way. And sometimes even tell parents, you have no control of who your child is interacting with. You have no control of, sometimes when I go to visit my children also at school, I try so much possible to find out who are their friends, the families where they are coming from. But it begins way back when you are equipping them with skills of how to select or how to choose good friends they can relate with. For me, at least here, one of the unique factors is that they look for their fellow church what? Because they know they have the same belief. They have the same standard. But also there are others who attract them for their selfish interests, and they try to make them their friends. It becomes difficult. But the overall point here is that for each and every parent has to do their work, and doing your work early, because once you do these roles properly and you ensure there is communication, your child can trust to communicate to you. You cannot break the confidentiality. You can have that mutual discussion with your child. Chances are that it is going to be very difficult for other people to confuse them. Even when they grow up, even when they go into relationships and relationships are not working out, they have a fallback position. They can communicate. If they get married maybe to somebody who cannot communicate, they have somebody to refer to. But at home, if things are difficult, they can't even communicate at home. Even in their new families, it's not going to work out. Even at church, you find them, they are given responsibilities, but they cannot even perform. They are the cause of the problems the people are experiencing. They are the ones chasing away people from the church. They are the one people don't want to associate. They are even not comfortable to stay at church. In most cases, they even leave the church because the standards, they are very restrictive. They are confusing them. They try somewhere else where things are working out. I think briefly, that's what I can share. Colleagues, others can also share. I know there are several experts here. And I know, especially those of you who are parenting adolescents and teenagers, several teenagers and adolescents come with their unique ways and how you manage and handle them. But what is very important is for you to understand and appreciate them. I normally emphasize the issue of active listening and respective dialogues. If they are teenagers, if they are adolescents, because that's when they can know. If once they know that somebody is understanding them, somebody is appreciating them, they are able also to give an ear to listen for any correction that can come along. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Elder. I don't know if you have also answered the second question or the first question, which came from Mrs. Mwewa.
If I've not, kindly, she can put it back in the chat. But in the chat, somebody is saying, how can we effectively communicate to teenagers who are naturally so quiet and would rarely talk? You try to have a conversation, they wouldn't. I think that is not something you just learn. You know, this is already a teenager. I don't know the person asking whether that is your child, that is your child, or that is a child you are teaching or you are supporting. But one of the things, if you are a parent, let's say you are the parent of this child, it's not surprising to you that your child is always what? Quiet. If the child is naturally quiet, usually they also add other background information that you have. Maybe the entire family, you are like that. How do you manage your issues? And those who normally keep quiet, it's a very key issue to observe, because as they keep quiet, there's a lot of information not shared. By the time you know, something might have gone far. So when they are naturally quiet, befriend them, make them your friend. Find out who they are open to. Because if you are the mother, if you are the father, and they are usually quiet, they don't even talk to you, and for you to think there's something happening, try your best if you can talk to them to share. I see you quiet these days. Is everything fine? You remember when I talked about quality time with the one-on-one with your child? Those are the scenarios where you can have that time to share. You go somewhere, go in a cafe, have a very good drink, both of you, two of you, no one else interrupting. Say, hey, Jen, it's our day out today. And these days you are quiet. I would like to know, is everything well? Is anyone complicating your life? Is life meaningful to you? Somehow, somewhere, if you are two of you, they might share. But even if they don't share, because you could be the problem and they cannot share, then you find out who are they open to. Because you could be the one causing the problem that they are not able to talk. So if they are naturally quiet, take note of that. And if you're a teacher, if you are what, find out, those are scenarios where you even need to see a professional. At that level, the mere fact that this is a teenager, make you a professional person, we need to find out, because for us, we are neutral, and we are sure confidentiality, usually they open up. Sometimes they open when they're even about to, they were planning to run away from your home when you even don't know. Sometimes they share when they have even been abused in the very family where they are. We have scenarios where even children are being sexually abused by the family members and they are being threatened. If you watched properly, the 2 clips I put, I have so many clips I would put like that, but I put those ones for a reason. You saw in the first one when the child was trying to communicate several times to the mother, several times, and the mother paid no attention. For her focus was, I want my child to have a first grade teacher. You must coach that child very well. I need a very good grade. And the mother didn't pay attention to all the attempts of the child to communicate what she was going through and how she was uncomfortable. Be careful when somebody comes to your home and the child keeps quiet and the child feels uncomfortable and the child lives where she has been doing and goes somewhere. Find out, as I mentioned, when you have that one-on-one, ask this person, Joanna, I saw when Jennifer or Tom came, you moved away, you are not comfortable. Is everything fine? Somehow, somewhere, originate a conversation. You might get information. But also in the second video, you saw how several times even young children try to communicate and you don't pay attention to them because of their age and whatever, maybe what is keeping us so busy. Later you try when really it is late. I was supporting one family, Adventist family, by the way, where they lost a child due to an abortion. And you can imagine, you a serving person in a church, your child reached a level of even committing an abortion. The child could try that to save you as a serving person in a church, not to get ashamed. But at the end of the day, you've lost the child, and everyone is getting to know what killed your child. You a serving elder, serving pastor, serving church officer. Are you following up? Are you doing your work? I don't know. So thank you so much. I believe there could be so many questions. Others have not put, but parenting is a process. Every other day, we need to understand and appreciate our children. As I mentioned earlier, each and every child is unique. Don't compare your children. That one so doesn't do that. Didn't you see what the other person? I want you also to be like, who told you they should be the same? Each child is unique. Support them to become who they want to be. As long as what they want to become is in line with what they are not doing something wrong. That's how some families have been able to get engineers, to get lawyers, but the moment you say you should be like so and so, you should do like this, you are trying to make all of them or even dictate for them what they should be. And in Uganda here, we have a very good practice where usually parents want to dictate even what their children should become, which is very, very difficult, and it's failing so many students. So many children are very bright students. Somebody says that all this I'm going through is because of Mzee. I should not have gone through this if she or he had allowed me to do what I wanted. But he confused me. He told me to do. Now I've had my time wasted. Have a one-on-one. Where it is difficult, engage a therapist. The 2 or 3 of you agree properly. We know you love your children more than any other person. And please let your children know that you love them more than any other person. But if you ask children who love you most, you will wonder whether they will say their parents. When they are young children, they will say that, but when they are teenagers and adolescents, they will assure you who they love most, and you could not even be the one. Somebody has risen up his or her hand. I wanted to end with that person.
Uh,
Please, I
may-
don't. If
maybe
it is
Elder, before looking
member,
at time, also time has left us. The first
yes,
question was like, here is the parent who has been very busy, no time for the children, and the children maybe psychologically or mentally, they are not okay. How do you reverse? How can a parent reverse certain behaviors which are not good because of his or her absence in the family? If I got you well, Mrs. Mwewa.
I think that question is clear. If you got
Yes,
her well,
Pastor, that
that is
was
already
my
a parent
question.
whose child. Yes, Mrs. Meba, I think that for that particular question, it's very clear that the child need to see a therapist because the absentee parents, there's a lot of information they don't know. So unless you take this child to a therapist and this therapist now start to carry out the assessments to find out what the exact problem, you are losing this child. Because in your absence, you even don't know whether your children are abused. I'm saying even sexually abused. You do not know the characters that they have learned. But if you have been absent, I know I have a colleague here in Uganda who resigned from a very, very good job from a UN position in the US. And she returned home to take care of her children. And she tells me, Julius, from what I see, it doesn't matter how much money I was earning the other side. My family first. But even I tell you, by the time she realized one of her child, we cannot get that child out. I'll try to support him also, but it's not easy. So as you are becoming absent from your children, I mentioned that earlier, know that time will come when you even money you have cannot bring back your child to what the child should be. So two of your parents, one of the parents has really to sacrifice as the other maybe look for more money and what. One of you has really to follow up the children's development and the character and everything. But if both of you are together and you are near and you have time to each other, the better. Because then you are speaking the same language and you are able to understand and discuss with them. But also know that it becomes difficult. The boy and the girl child, they incline sometimes to different sexes, even as they grow up psychologically. So you need to give them a chance to speak to who they are very open with and later merge as parents and give feedback. So your absence in a family can help you have your children develop different mental health issues. But as those happen, you remember when I was discussing the different parenting styles and the likely mental health problems that are likely to happen. You can only know when you have seen a therapist and the therapist has assessed your child and you are able to what? To tell that now this is the problem that the child has developed because of ABCD. But mostly those people usually develop anxiety issues, depression issues. Those are very key, especially when you are absent from your child's growth. The anxiety issues expect them, and the depression issues expect them because there is a gap that was created earlier, but you are not able to diagnose or tell that this person is now suffering from depression or anxiety. That's why I emphasize that you need to see a therapist early enough before more problems are created. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Elder. Mrs. Mwanawina, please, you can come through. Maybe that could be our last hand. We have run out of time now. Please, you can come through. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor. I wanted to add a word or two on the use of phones. There's nothing wrong with giving a child a phone, but we should also be considerate of age and the content they have in that particular phone. If they're using it for schoolwork, I think let's give them time for them to use it, and we should be on guard on the sites that they visit, or if it's not that, we restrict them. Otherwise, if we just let it loose like that, we're going to lose them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate for that question. We appreciate that question. I mean, the contribution that you have just brought in, our dear beloved mother, Mrs. Mwanawina, for the age that we can help our children to use their phone. Thank you very much. Before Elder Julius wraps up and give his closing remarks, I've seen our also psychologist, Ma'am Evelyn. She's present. Ma'am, do you want to say something?
Hello, Pastor. I only want to thank Julius for a very good presentation and also for the good questions you people have asked. Everything he has said is just the way it is. Let us just apply and also use the resources that have been given, including looking for counseling services where need be. That's what I can say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma'am. We are very grateful for that.
Thank you, Evelyn.
I've received some messages and say, please, is it possible the elder can avail the PowerPoint so that some parents can go through? We have a forum which we call Every Child is Special, where we have different, more than 600 parents who are on that forum. And some have requested, is it possible you can share the material so that some can go through and read? That some of the people who have just inboxed to request for that. Otherwise, okay. Elder, you, if possible, you can give your closing remarks now.
Okay, fellow parents and professionals also on this line, thank you so much for spending your time. I know learning never ends, and for us, our parents, we learn every other day as we look at our children. As they grow up, you need to still learn. Here, there's a very common saying that if you do not raise well your children, they will kill you. And indeed, we have witnessed parents dying because of their children. Remember, when you are still young, you have all the energies, you have all the zeal you have to put right your child. But as you grow up, you've seen those of you who have visited your grandparents, and they tell you that grandfather of yours was not a joke, was a very serious parent. But when they look at now the grandchildren, things have changed. So we are called upon to do our work early enough and ensure that we become real parents. Because if you do not do that in the beginning, it is going to be very difficult while the children grow up. Now, as Christian, it's very important to be careful also with what we feed with our children. It's very key for you to know from day one, as your children start school, where do you take them? Who do they interact with? What do they do when they are not at school? What do they engage in? Always ensure that your children are occupied. They have something to keep them busy. If you do not do that and you let them find out whatever they want, it's going to be very difficult. My other colleague there mentioned about the phones. Controlling what your child can do on phone has become a very big problem. Because even sites, you cannot control the sites where they can what? With internet, if on TV you cannot control them, what about on the phone, which is mobile, and they use it to move wherever they want? So it is very important. But you also need to agree from what we said earlier as we started. They need to understand that you will not take away phone from them, because actually they will need that phone. But they will need to know. They will need to see how you also behave with your phone. Our children see what we do. And remember, children, to the children, and as they grow up, for them, actions speak louder than the what? The words. If you are doing something contrary and you are telling them something different, they won't do that. If you are telling a child, the young one, that don't drink while standing, don't eat while walking, and they see you drinking while you are walking, it's not going to work. They want exemplary life. If you know you cannot do that, avoid being with your children. Better take them to a boarding or wherever to stay with somebody who is what? Because you are going to spoil them yourself. And when they see things are not working with you, they will even not trust you. Sometimes we lie too much. You are in the jam, you are driving with your child, you are going somewhere, maybe you are delayed. They ask you, Elder, how far have you gone? Yeah, I'm just here, I'm turning around. But the fact is, you're just taking out the car from the garage. The child sees the elder and the pastor who is lying. That is what? And then you say, I don't want liars. Can you tell us the truth? But they know even you yourself do not talk the what? The truth. They tell you somebody, you are the one who tells them, you are the one who abuses people, you are the one who talk bad about the pastors, about the elders, about the other people, the neighbors, and you say, very stupid, don't accept, do this. You are telling children the way you are communicating to the other person, and for them, they are noting what you are saying. By the time they go back, they are talking to those people, expressing exactly what you express, what you told them. So we need to know if somebody has not done something good for you, if you feel not comfortable, don't please talk when your children are listening. Some of us also know that we have a lot of money. Even at church, we complain, but now you look, Mrs. Mwema. Eh? They are poor, those poor people. How shall we continue to what? To support them like that? They will suffer a lot. You are saying this, your child is listening. The following day, your child is also going to look at Mrs. Mwema and her children as poor what? But who told you that you are rich? And why would you make your child believe that? What if you are not there tomorrow? So parents, let's check ourselves. Let's become exemplary to our children. Let us try as much as possible to be exemplary. Let us pray for our children, parents. Let us teach them to love God. Let them really believe and know that the fear of the Lord is the source of wisdom. May the good Lord bless you.
Amen and amen. Elder, is it possible you can close for us in prayer?
Okay, let us pray. Our dear Father in heaven, thank you so much for this opportunity again we've had to share as parents on this forum. Father, thank you so much for the blessings of the children that you have given us. And thank you so much, Father, for the knowledge that you have shared, that we have learned and understood that we are supposed to carry out our responsibility as parents, Father. Thank you for the opportunity we have to raise our children. Heavenly Father, we are living in a sinful world. We want to pray that the way the world is, it's only you who can see us through. We therefore, Father, want to commit our children to your hands. We want to commit them to you, Father, in this sinful world, that you always be the light to them. Give us the knowledge, give us the wisdom and understanding to be able to raise these children as God-fearing children, such that they become responsible children, not only in this world, but also in the world to come. I want to pray for your servants. I want to pray for the parents who are on this forum, Father. Each of them, they are trying their best to say that they get the knowledge that they need to raise their children. They cannot say their issues, but you know very well how some of these children have become a problem, have become a burden, have become challenging to many of us. Father, especially we who are from your house, Father, we want to pray that our children really become exemplary. We want to pray that you also help us to become exemplary to them. We want them to move out as a light that can light to other people. Let there be a difference between children who are coming within the church, who are from the church, and the children who are from the outside of the church, such that we'll be in a position to preach and live an exemplary life and talk what we also practice, not what we only think. In doing that, that we'll be able to proclaim your word and many people understand you and turn and become Christians, such that by the time you come back, you find many ready to receive you as their God. Be with us and continue to be with other arrangements that are coming. And Father, bless us all and prepare us more for thy second coming. In the mighty name of our Lord Jesus Christ, we do pray and believe.
Amen and amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. It was nice sharing with you. Have a good evening.
Thank
Elder,
you.
you have data, you have hammered us as pastors. We'll create time for our children. We'll stop some camp meetings. No, thank you very much. We really appreciate. We really appreciate.
Thank you, Pastor.
Sure.